It is that time again, and I am back again. So there you go. Or, as the Sadakar say, dreams are messages from the deep. I love that scene, actually. That's such a good scene on the Sadakar homeworld when they're, doing their thing. That was really good. That was a nice addition. That was an addition that was like worthwhile, I think. And then the description of the channel, well, it's a little bit of a lyric from somebody who I feel like got treated very unfairly by the system. So, whatever. I mean, you know, they still don't understand what I say on Twitter. Right? And even with all my fame and money, I still can't see my children. Do, do, do. Mm-mm-mm. All you gotta do is be a dude that ever went through a divorce, and you hear the first part of that song, and you're like, yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about, homie. Because, a lot of us been there. A lot of us been there. Know what it's like, you know. But so, boom, boom, boom. Okay, so all right, getting the ship, at least part of it done. I'll have to paint the archers. I'm probably just gonna paint them multiple colors. Like so every archer will be a different color. So that'll look like it's actually a group of guys, uh, hanging out, shooting bows at shit. Oh yeah, the gunman inside New York City. That's crazy, man. CNN reporter says the shooter, most likely a white guy. And here's what's funny about that story is the CNN reporter who was saying the shooter was probably a white guy. He had the picture of the shooter, right? And it was 100% obvious that homie was not a white guy. Now, when you look at him up close, you realize he's, as they call a Blasian. So, like, maybe he's got a Japanese daddy because his last name is Takamura or something like that. But that's not a white guy. You know what I'm saying? But CNN, not only did they claim the shooter was most likely a white guy, they claimed it like a dozen times, and they had the picture of the guy in front of him. Dude had a fro. He had skin color like coffee. It's like, that's a dark ass white guy you got going on over there. How you doing, Bubba? What's up with you? I mean, and I don't know. Sometimes I'll get political about topical situations, or especially when it's the media effing everybody over. I will always say something about that. And to quote a lot of other people who have said it before, you don't hate the media enough. If you don't hate the media, you should hate them. And if you do hate them, you probably don't hate them as much as they deserve. Because, I mean, them fools are lying to you, man. They are lying straight up, telling you a lie and expecting you to be so stupid that you'll believe it. And, you know, you won't question or anything. It's like, I mean, so like Charlie Kirk, I think, said earlier, you know, he believes in systemic racism now because every time something happens, the first thing that certain people do in the media is try to blame a white guy for it, you know? And now what'll happen is since now we know that the shooter was a black guy or mixed race, whatever, that story will vanish really quick. And you won't hear about it anymore. That shit is going right down the memory hole. What's up, brother?
Usual.
Whereas, had it actually been a white guy, it would be front page news. But
well, you know, you can't understand what they're trying to say because you don't have a liberal arts degree.
Right.
You haven't been programmed properly.
Well, I think that the guy who literally said on the news and said that many times should be fired.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that old man could not look at the picture and be like, that's a brother. You know what I'm saying? There's no way. It's just not even possible.
I think they're trying to spin he's Blasian now or whatever.
He is. I mean, obviously, he's got a Japanese dad. His last name is Takamura. That's very Japanese, Takamura. But does it matter? The fact is, I mean, I understand that to a lot of liberals, Japanese people are just a different shade of evil white guy. Which is why they feel like they can be prejudiced against.
Wait till they figure out they're not really from Japan originally. They're all Okinawa.
They're Chinese originally, yeah. But
Nippon, yeah. Nippon.
Yeah, but
from China to Okinawa, from Okinawa to Japan. Yeah.
Right. But what I mean to say is there's two groups of people that can be like abused by the university system.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like straight white men and Asians.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you're either of those, you better have the best scores ever, or they won't even look at you.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning into this. Adult daycare is modern professional liberal arts degrees. Like,
did
you subsidize the damn
yesterday?
Huh?
Did you watch It's a Gundam yesterday?
It's a gun. No, I rarely watch anybody online actually. Especially if it's more than 20 minutes at a time, Bubba's out. Except for like you and a handful of others, which I'll leave on as background noise.
Homie, he said the exact same thing you just said.
Oh,
he said a lot of these tech jobs are just like grown up daycare. Yeah. For these tech chicks that really normally couldn't get a job anywhere on the planet.
Yeah, that's been floating around on the fringe rot on Telegram for a few months, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy, you know, and of course he was showing one of these women working at Spotify, and you know the free meals and the free frickin' yoga room, and it's like. You know, if you're laying brick or block or something out in the frickin' Florida sun and it's 100 degrees, you don't get none of that.
Yeah, it's like a lot of the on the fringe, like on Telegram, it's like it's just another plot by the usual suspects to keep white people from breeding.
Maybe.
And I laugh. You start doing the math. I'm like, yeah, these middle managers don't really do much of anything, do they?
So we do have an issue, like. The one Texas Democrat, Crockett, that's always running around making a fool of herself,
Yeah.
She's 44 years old. She ain't got a kid.
Maybe that's the best. I think in the end we win because we outbreed the mentally defectives. They either birth their offspring or they don't have them.
It's like you're 44 years old. You have no kid. You're not going to have any kids because that egg carton is probably all effed up by now.
Yeah.
It's like you have basically, in my opinion, wasted your entire life just so you could get on TV and carry on like some kind of ratchet bitch about Trump.
But I have a career and a degree. I'm special. Okay. Enjoy your special lonely time in the old folks home.
You know, I listen sometimes to what's his name? Wilson. And of course I'm automatically biased towards the guy because he's Orthodox Christian. But it is so wild seeing him on like the What's Up app or whatever show. And he is just ripping these chicks a new ass. And like, they're like, I work for so-and-so and I make like 70 grand a year. And he's like, yeah. And the man you want does not give a shit.
Yeah.
He will walk over you to get to the hot 25-year-old that works at McDonald's.
Yeah. Who's nice.
So, you know, it's like
nice and just wants to raise kids. Awesome. Men don't get what you do for a living.
It's like, I don't think you understand what guys want.
Yeah. I think the last rabbit hole I went through was the separatist place in Arkansas. Everybody's losing their mind out. So I like watching the reaction videos to it. I'm like, okay.
A separatist place? Like what do you mean?
They formed a corporation and it's made for Caucasian Americans of European descent. So you buy shares into it, so it's a private club. They made it a club membership and they're building a town of whites only, basically. So naturally, everybody hates them for it. But then the same people who made the article hating on them are praising a black couple from Atlanta for doing the same thing. Yeah, they're making a separatist compound, dude. That's what they're doing. They're making a compact community. They're making a Hopian compact community is what they're doing.
That is, I guess they're right.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I agree. I'm like, let's have all these different disparate groups who hate each other, so to speak, create their own individual compounds and see who wins. I mean, and we should make it a reality show. What's going on over in Crackerville? What's going on over in Darktown? What's going on in Little India? Wow. Let's put it on a triple screen split.
Right. The real great race.
Yeah. These people are having that damn barbecue? Yeah. Then I'm going to go down the river and swim. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember one time when the Great Race was on TV, and one season, it just so happened, I don't think they meant for it to happen, that all of the competitors were of different ethnicities. So they're like,
I think it's funny.
The Great Race. I can't say anything about it because where I live may as well be what you described.
Oh, yeah.
Except no one went out of their way for it to be that way.
People self-segregate, but when you say you want to intentionally segregate, people freak out. Not noticing that the rich have been doing it for decades, for centuries.
Well, the poor too, because we used to have black people there when there was coal mines.
Yeah.
And when the coal mines shut down, all the black people moved to Ohio.
Yeah.
Or
Metro series. Yeah, it's like an inverse, and we have an inverse migration now, and it's what happened to Huntington, where everybody who went to the better paying jobs in Detroit and stuff, it all fell apart, and now they're going back to extended family in the rusty belts of Appalachia. But they brought back the only thing they brought back from up north was how to be, gangs and drug dealing. Became an influx.
Right, like all of the black guys, because my grandpa's best friend was a black guy he worked in the mines with. And he used to tell me they would do this thing every day. It was like their thing. they'd come out of the coal mines. They had like a trough set up with water that ran down it and
Yeah.
soap so you could wash the coal dust off your face and everything. And he said, every day this guy would look up and say, Leslie, did I get all the coal off my face? Because Leslie was my grandpa's name. And my grandpa would be like, Leroy, how in the hell am I supposed to know? You're blacker than hell. and then Leroy would just laugh. He'd be like, ha ha ha. And they were buddies, but the coal mine shut down and he moved to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
He got a factory job. But my grandpa, he just stayed way up in those damn hills because that's just what my people did. We're like, we got here in 1740 and we will never leave. So, you know.
Let's get coming back.
So that's how.
We'll back up a good hauler. At my age now, when I was younger, I couldn't wait to get out of the hauler and go places. Now I can't wait to find an even more remote hauler to move up into.
Yeah, I was the same way.
It's like I can't deal with these people.
Like as soon as I got old enough, I was gone and away in the Army. I was, out there doing shit. I'm in Orlando now, but my wife and I have already decided that as soon as she retires, we're out of here. Hey, George. But it's so weird because, and I pointed this out to my wife, because I live in a very diverse area, Orlando, but even my area is even more diverse. Yeah, James of the Hill people. Exactly. Is even more diverse than like most of Orlando. And we went up to Kentucky for a week. And about the fourth day I'm there, I just turned to my wife and I'm like, did you notice something weird? And she's like, no, what? I'm like, I have not seen a single black person in like 4 days.
Yep.
And she's like, we start looking at like signs and like, on the side of the highway and shit. No. And it was like, no one kicked them out. They just don't live here.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's like, because I don't think
actually in Kentucky, you see more Mexicans than you see blacks anymore, unless you're in Louisville or Lexington or metro areas.
Yeah. One of my buddies was complaining that all the good fat women are with Mexicans now.
Oh yeah,
and you can't hardly get a good fat woman anymore. Which I guess he's a chubby chaser, but he's bitch about it. He's like all the good fat chicks and eating Mexicans.
Oh yeah.
Mexicans, I didn't see very many of them even. I saw a couple, but hey, what's up, William? But I never. It's not like down here. If I walk out in the front yard and turn to the left, I'm going to see Hispanics.
Yeah,
because we're actually the minority here.
Yeah,
Europeans. Well, actually, Hispanics are half European, but whatever. I'm going to see some kind of Spanish.
Down that road, maybe we get a lot of people all with the word Hispanic comes to Hispaniola, for fuck's sake. I mean,
right. So, and then up there, the only time I saw a Mexican was if I was in a restaurant ordering something.
Yeah.
Now, what is funny though is it didn't matter what the restaurant served, because like my parents and I, we went out to get sushi, and every motherfucker in that restaurant was Mexican. Everyone working there was Mexican, and they made some good sushi rolls.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, because I mean, you're probably not going to catch a bunch of Japanese guys hanging out in the hollers, in eastern, southeastern Kentucky. But
be surprised. We got a fair amount of Asians in Ashland.
Well, Filipino.
Yeah. Marshall University brings in quite a few, and then they don't go home; they stay.
Yeah, I've seen a few Filipinos that have married somebody or other, and now they're living in Kentucky.
Yeah,
which I'm okay with that. I mean,
I got two Asian markets within 5 miles of my house, and it's a small Kentucky town of city of 25,000. But there's two pretty damn authentic Manila-style markets, and then there's probably 4 Mexican-owned, I wouldn't call them a bodega, but like their version of a little grocery.
Right.
And there's like 4 of those.
Yeah, that 25,000 city you live near.
I live in town.
Than the nearest city I live near.
Yeah, I know. I've been down to Harlem.
Like the nearest city I live near has got like 10,000 people in it, but they do got an Asian market.
Yeah. Wow.
Because when I was up there, my brother drove up from Tennessee to hang out, and
Yeah.
like something he always does when he goes to Kentucky to hang out with my parents, he goes to the Asian market because he likes to make like Korean barbecue and stuff,
Mhm.
and my parents love it, you know.
Yeah.
Or maybe my mom just loves having a day where she ain't got cook.
Yeah.
But
I got to deal with the Mexican place once in a while because my wife likes the Mexican oregano, and it's the only place I can get it fairly fresh with an actual straight up brand. They're kind of dicks, though. Kind of dicks to me.
well, what was crazy is we go into this giant Asian supermarket, and it was as big as an Aldi's. I mean, it was huge. And they had literally everything you could think of there. And the guy working behind the counter was whiter than I am.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
merchants love multi-diversity. It gives you diversity because it gives you lots of options to sell. But I don't trust merchants.
yeah, I'm sitting there thinking, is this store owned by actual Asians, or is it owned by like some white people that just said, hey, let's sell some Asian shit? You know what I mean?
Weibo. It's trying to some Weibo. I gotta get my authentic stuff.
Yeah, you know, but like they had like 2 giant rows of ramen noodles.
Yeah, I've broken my grandkids from the crappy ramen, like the wax wrap stuff, and I make ramen for them from scratch. So
Right.
I'm
That's
slowly winning them over. Slowly.
How you doing, Leth?
Hey, how's it going?
Well, I don't know. We got. You could call this the Commonwealth stream.
Hillbilly corn.
Yeah, the Hillbilly Corner. So, what you want to talk about, Leth?
I don't know. Last night's game was crazy, wasn't it, Bubba?
They almost died.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
it
I
was
told
nice.
him at least get a shield or something.
They got
This
lucky.
was a different character.
Yeah, you think it's they got very lucky, and I made a few rulings on the fly that probably went to their benefit. But it came down to a single die row, 2 die rows actually, the initiative and a saving throw. Otherwise, that next round, I killed half the party, and maybe 75%.
You would have probably killed the whole party.
Yeah,
Well, in my Dune game, as I said, a character almost died. It came down to 2 rolls.
Yeah.
You know,
But in,
an HK unit came out of a hidden compartment, and the swordmaster decided to jump in front of the noble, and he thought he was going to do some cool like swat it down with the sword thing, and he shanked the roll.
yeah,
And so the HK unit hit him, but the Bene Gesserit grabbed it real quick and like threw it down before he could get a full dose. And so then they had to put him in a machine to filter his blood.
Yeah.
So, but had she failed that roll, he would have been just instantly dead.
well,
The good
James,
news is if they had enough Solari, they could have just got him cloned, made a Gola. But then that means you got to deal with the Bene Talaxu, and those guys are weird.
yeah. Well, James, instead of dying, we all leveled up. I leveled up twice.
Well,
yeah,
that is better than dying.
yeah. I usually don't allow that, but I was like, he's first level, and I guess the party's gonna be 4th. Might as well just allow it.
Yeah.
So I made
It was a special occasion too. I mean,
well, it's
Well,
not
you're
going to happen again
different,
because
so-
it's exponential leveling. So after 4th level, I mean, the gap is just beyond what you can get on an adventure because you can't get that much out. And the only reason you guys got that much treasure out of the dungeon this time was because it was gems.
yeah.
And there's no carry weight for gems in Dragon Slayer, which makes sense. 75 gems would actually probably go in a large pouch or a couple of large pouches or one small sack. So
Well, you're the DM, so it's up to you. You get to decide.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
We all made like 275.
That's something I firmly believe in. Rulings over rules.
well, the first ruling, they rolled in. I had him check open roll for sleep. So 3 and 6 was a sleeping dragon. They walked in on the shadow dragon. And I had, when they said they were going up this corridor, I was like, ooh, this is going to go south. So they got Sleeping Dragon, but they had a lantern for light. So I said 2 and 6. Guy holding the lantern dropped me a D6. He drops a 2. I described the scene. The eye opens, it sees you. Is anyone intending to cast a spell? I've already got 3 people in the party yelling, run!
Yeah.
They already know they've been spotted, but they won initiative. And guess who decided they were fighting? The wizard. The wizard says, I'm unrolling a scroll. I'm going for it.
Well, the name of the game is Dragon Slayer.
Yeah, it is Dragon Slayer. What do you think about this? I didn't rule that he had dragon fear until he actively was moving around and initiating a movement. Because I don't think a sleeping dragon is all that terrifying.
Well, I think any dragon is terrifying, but if you're an adventurer, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of you being there. You're not peasant.
Yeah, but I was going to make him roll for dragon fear on the beginning of whenever the dragon went. But they won initiative, the fighters charged up, and they rolled 17 and 18 and couldn't hit. And then that's the moment they realized its AC was in the negatives.
Yeah.
And then the cleric hit it and discovered that you needed magical weapons to hit it.
Yeah.
And then they seen him breathing and like, uh-oh. And then the wizard cast Hold Monster and he failed his save. That's it. What do you guys do next round? Coup de grace. Coup de grace.
George, my mother and Hungar are, well, he can't eat it anymore, but they are both huge fans of kimchi.
Never been a
So
fan.
when I was up in Kentucky and we went to the Asian market, he made sure to grab like a bucket of the stuff. It might have been a gallon of it. My mom will eat that stuff just plain or with white rice, whatever.
It's like fermented kraut when we come down to the day, man.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's fermented cabbage with a lot of peppers and stuff in it. It's just spicy freaking sauerkraut.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. Yeah.
I'd much rather have hot wings.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, lad. If you play your cards right, you could have both.
I'm a big fan of just eating steak as much as possible. I made some
So.
redneck beanie weenies this morning, and I'm like, man, this sucked. It was a fail. I cut up a bunch of Metwurst, fried it up, and then dumped in baked beans and brought it to a simmer and just ate that.
Well, I'm sorry you weren't happy with it.
It could have had a little more kick to it. Something. It was lacking something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you should use kielbasa next time instead of Metwurst.
Yeah. Maybe you were just craving something else and what you ate just wasn't it.
Well, I bought some steaks for tomorrow evening, so
Yeah.
probably still think about them steaks.
That sounds like my niece is back home.
George, I can honestly tell you I've never had kimchi soup. I have had kimchi on the side of a lot of different dishes like Korean barbecue and stuff like that, bulgogi and stuff. But it's always served either on the side or in its own bowl. And then you can reach in and grab some and do your thing, you know? So I don't know anything about kimchi soup. But I mean, I'd probably like it because, you know, that's the kind of guy I am, you know?
Oh, and James, I did roll really good for my health. 2d6, I rolled 2 5s.
Well, damn. That's good.
And I got a new magical item. Well, not a very useful one yet.
Yeah, we had another player join the group. Took a little while to get their character done up, but they're in. It's actually one of my brother's oldest daughters wanted to play. And of course, she didn't know anything about Dune, so I gave her some references to look into if she wanted to. She probably won't, but you know. And like I already said on the recap, the big thing that happened that particular evening was a lot of the minor and some of the major families were invited to a dinner in Harco City with the Harkonnen. And, you know, because a lot of the minor houses, including the minor house that the players are part of, they're trying not to get caught on a side. You know what I mean? And the fact that they were delivered an invitation to a dinner for nobles, had they refused, that could have caused insult, which down the line could have led to a declaration of Canley. And that, of course, means somebody in her house would have had to step forward and fight Fade, which wouldn't have been a good thing because Fade is really good at killing people with knives. And no one in her house is a Paul, Muad'Dib. So it'd have been bad, right? But they went. Fade tried to sleep with the leader of the house. She refused.
Right now?
And that was basically that.
Oh, bounce. I got a little one to make her some ramen.
Nice.
You can wave and say hi, people. She's staying off camera. She's shy.
Hey, that's all right. I was really shy out my whole life too until I got older. But so yeah, a lot of things happened, and right now they're staying the course, so we'll see. But they're looking to move to a different residence outside of Arakeen. I have all of the ones up to the recent one, and I love them. When I run OSE, I actually use the Die 6 Thief skill system, and I will allow players to play some of the alternate race, class combos. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty much a fan of the Arcane Bard. I'm kind of a fan of that. So I'll let players play that. Some of them I won't let players play, like Mongrel Men and stuff like that. I'm like, no, you're not playing a Mongrel Man. I would allow them to play a Tiefling, but I would force them to roll their demonic features in front of everyone, and that would just be that.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Because that's how it was in AD&D 2nd edition, Planescape. If you wanted to play a Tiefling, you could, but you could never be good. You could only be neutral, and maybe even always with some evil tendencies. And there was a whole chart that you rolled on to see how you were affected by the infernal blood.
I'm going to be Hellboy.
Well, I mean, you could be born with horns. You could have a tail. You could smell like sulfur. I mean, you would get a couple of these things, right? But then you would also have like sometimes special abilities, like your character is extremely resistant to fire, which, kind of makes sense since you're a Cambion, basically.
I guess I'd just have to be the neutral one. And
yeah, in one of the computer games, it might have been one of the Neverwinter Nights games, you end up picking up an NPC to join your group. And like after a while, you find out that she is a Tiefling. But she always wears like the robes and everything so that, everyone can't just see right off the bat the fact that she has, cloven hooves and all that sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, OSE does good work, and everything in Carcass Crawler could very easily be used with Dragon Slayer or over any other game. Like literally any other game based on, you know, D&D, BX, AD&D, whatever. You could just use those books. So I like that.
And last game, I fought a lot of things. Well, we encountered a lot of things that I could not hurt.
Because of no magic.
Yep. No magic items, no magic. I was just like sitting there with, you know, daggers and and a light crossbow, and I'm just like,
It is that way
well.
sometimes, you know.
Yeah. Starting out, you know, happens.
It just be that way.
Hopefully, you know, will be remedied. I can hopefully eventually work on getting magical items to help with that.
Well, I'm sure eventually. I mean, you know.
So far, all I got magical wise is an amulet that does nothing because I don't have the eyes to put into it.
An amulet that needs eyeballs in it.
Yep. Depending on what type of eye you put in it, it'll do different things.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be carrying that thing around. That sounds kind of evil. What's up, Lee? How you doing, homie?
Yeah, but we might need it for the dungeon that we're going through.
I know Bubba had to leave to make some ramen for his grandkid, and me and Leth and I should say, using, you know, the King's English, are sitting here talking about the D&D game he played, and I'm trying to let him get a word in edgewise, because, you know, otherwise I'll just sit here and go off on like the Dune game I ran and how much fun we had. So
that is fair.
I'm trying to be a little bit more of a sharing person when it comes to, you know, the channel.
Maybe I'll be able to find something that I could buy, but I don't know much about buying magical items in this version of a game.
I don't know. Bubba's kind of old school, so there may not be a magic dealer anywhere around you.
I don't expect there to be like a magic store. More like you might find something in a store that might be magic or something. But
yeah, but the problem with that is,
it's
the most minor of magic items is so costly.
True.
It's like a generic +1 sword is like 10,000 gold pieces.
Yeah, dang it.
I mean, forget about anything better than that. I mean, magic is a thing. My Friday session, DM does not like the firearms option in the first Carcass Crawler zine. You know, some people are like that.
I can see people being like that. Though in a medieval fantasy, maybe there should be like very early stage firearms.
I have no strong opinions, except when I ran my homebrew game, which was set in my version of like fantasy Russia. The Tsarina's elite guard, her Strokovy, carried a Bardich, Lamlar armor they wore, and a rifle. Well, it was more of a blunderbuss type thing, you know. It was a firelock.
A flintlock, or not flintlock.
Yeah, it was a firelock. It had like the wick that they had to light.
Yeah, that's a matchlock.
Yeah, but so how I used firearms to make them seem more like firearms in my homebrew is they were touch attack weapons, which meant they only needed to hit an armor class of whatever affected by your dex and maybe magic items. So if you're wearing mundane armor, forget about it. If you had no dex bonus and you were wearing any mundane armor, your armor class was 10. And the second thing I did to make firearms seem like extra dangerous is they had exploding dice. So if somebody shot you with a matchlock, as let's say, for die 8 and they rolled an 8, well, they just kept rolling. So in theory, you could be this great hero in your Lamlar steel armor, and some idiot could just blast you right into the next world because it's a gun. Now, magic actually could stop firearms. So, if you had like magic armor, the armor wouldn't count towards your armor class, but the magic would. But it was really the exploding dice that made that shit risky, because you just never really know what's getting ready to happen. You know what I mean? But yeah, I played a lot of games with my bro Bry, who lives up in Virginia somewhere now, I think. And he was like the most anti any kind of technology above like early medieval dark ages at all in any game he played. It was like, if you're talking about basically 9th, 10th century, the fall of Rome, the rise of the Carolingians, that sort of era we're talking about, that's where he wanted to be. He did not ever, ever, ever want there to be. And as a result, he hated Shadowrun, wouldn't play it. He'd play Cyberpunk, though, but he would not play Shadowrun because he hated the idea of magic and technology. So he was just, I don't think it's that weird because, I mean,
fair.
A lot of people are just that way. A lot of people just hate the idea of technology in their role-playing game.
I'm not like that. I mean, one of my favorite systems actually has it. Dwarves have a lot of technology.
Well, axe dwarves, actually, if you play a dwarf inventor or whatever they're called, they can build helicopters and all kinds of shit.
And RuneQuest, they have they had airships. They have guns.
Yeah, I mean, so
they have their little automaton gnomes.
Yeah. And if you were to play one of my other favorite games, Talislanta, they have flying ships and cities that literally float in the clouds, and they're chained to the earth by gigantic chains. And
so, yeah,
you can even play a class that's like a technomancer, where people think it's magic, but it's really technology. But they don't know it's technology. They assume you're some kind of wizard because, given a toolkit, you can repair, automatons and shit like that. But in reality, you were trained to fix doodads. And that's what you do. You are a doodad fixer. So, I mean, and that's one of my favorite settings, the Talislanta setting. So,
yeah.
But I'm not going to judge people who don't like it. Just some people don't like it, and that's fair,
I mean, it depends on what time frame you're really wanting to go for.
Right.
Again, Europe got Matchlocks in 1411.
And that's why if you were playing like Lamentations of the Flame Princess, it makes perfect sense to have black powder weapons. Because the default setting for that game is like the Renaissance, France.
And slightly before that, I mean, the closest to a firearm were those long, poles with the cannon on the end of it.
Oh, that's like medieval shit.
Yep.
Yeah, the hand cannonades, that's medieval shit.
Yep.
No, in Lamentations of the Flame Princess, we're talking like flintlock.
No, I'm just saying if you wanted to go earlier than 1411, then you'd probably hit the times where you'd get hand cannons.
Right. Or just play 5e and throw the the space thing, whatever, on there, and everybody can have wheel-lock pistols, or play Pathfinder and just be a gunslinger. Or I think modern D&D has gunslingers, doesn't it?
Yeah, 5th edition does. They kind of added it with the whole, what was it?
Because I seem to remember watching the cartoon and one of the
characters. Yeah, that, what was the name of their game?
Abelard or whatever his name was.
I'm just thinking of the name of that game that the
It's the Critical Role game.
Critical Role. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the characters, the tall blonde guy that wears glasses, is also a gunslinger.
That's when they brought in, I think, the gunslinger, but they also had the artificer, I guess, a little bit earlier with the whole. I am blanking out on names now. What was it?
The
Eberron?
character I
Eberron.
don't get is the elf with the antlers. I'm like, what's going on there? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you couldn't do it, and God knows that what's it called did it.
Neelith or
Morrowind.
something like that. No.
Morrowind.
Oh, Morrowind.
Yeah, that whole series, the Wood Elves they have antlers. And they're also like cannibals.
Well, I was going to say not the strangest thing. I mean, in RuneQuest, elves are plants.
There was a game I played where the elves were plants. What was the name of that game? The elves were plants, and there were these midget people that kind of had technology, but not, and they're really small.
I don't know.
It was an MMO that we all played for a little bit. Then it went to suck, and we all stopped. We played it somewhere between ArcAge and nothing. Have you seen the D&D in a Castle hosting the 2-day DM seminar? You know, that's great for suckers. And I hope they do great, Coochie. I hope they do great. But the reason I would never go to anything like that is I guarantee you I'm a better DM than whoever they have teaching. And I know that sounds super arrogant, like, oh my God, this guy, right? But I mean, I've been DMing for, at this point, 43 years. There's nothing these kids are going to tell me, you know? It's like, don't quote the ancient magic to me, kid. I was there when it was written. You know what I'm saying? You assholes have a problem with THAC0. I figured that shit out when I was 12. So, you know, I'm not saying I'm a super genius. I'm saying you guys might be a little slow, you know, because, and that is always my excuse when people bitch about THAC0. It's like I was a hillbilly from Eastern Kentucky that did nothing but run around barefoot and catch frogs and throw rocks at my brothers and shit like that. And I still managed to figure out how THAC0 worked. So what is your excuse? Were you dropped on your head as a child? And this might sound mean and like uncharitable, but you know, and I don't even use THAC0 anymore when I play D&D because most of the people I play with started like with 3rd edition. So they're like, whatever, right? So I just do what I'm an easy breezy kind of guy, for real. It's like, if this is what everybody wants, this is what we'll do. The only time I've changed that in like years, because I was always forever DM, was recently when I sat down at the table with my Dune book and blank character sheets and handed them out and said, we're playing Dune. And everybody was like, what? Like, yeah, we're playing Dune. They're like, what about the other game? Don't worry about that other game. Tonight, we're playing Dune. And you know why? Not to be a dickhead, but because I'm the DM and I really wanted to play Dune. And the least they could have done, in my opinion, is give it a shot for a night or two.
It seemed like they really liked it too.
Play something else. I mean, it's not a big deal. But I bought the Kickstarter for that freaking game. I paid like $100-something US in krona because, you know, it's Swiss or French or whatever. And before I decided whether or not I was going to sell the game, I wanted to at least play the game. And now, having played the game a couple times, I can see us playing the game for the next year at least. There's just so much going on. You know what I mean? It's so different than D&D. Like the timing's different, combats are different. Like, yeah, I can't even explain it really. Like your characters are way more concerned about not bringing shame to their house and not being murdered by an assassin than they are about, raiding a dungeon or something. So, I mean, it is just a completely different game. That's all I can say. It's a completely different game. We used to, when we took breaks from D&D, we would play, what's it called? Vampire. But that's not going to be a thing anymore, I don't think, because almost every single one of the players at the table has already told me that they prefer Doom to Vampire. So now, will I give up on D&D? I don't know. Probably not, because of nostalgia. And sometimes you just want to club orcs and steal gold, right, Left?
Yeah.
Some days that's just what you want to do. You don't want to be involved in this grand, multi-layered, plans within plans scheme. Some days you want to drink Mountain Dew, club some orcs, high five each other when you roll a 20.
Getting into those shenanigans.
Dude, there is nothing wrong with that. Some days you just want to play a game.
Some
That's
hijinks while you one-shot a dragon that you really would have died to normally.
Well, you get what I'm saying, though. There's the time when you might want to play the deep political game with all the different noble families and all the crazy Game of Thrones type shit going on. And then sometimes you're just like, let's go into this cave system and mug a shit ton of goblins. That'll show them. Okay. And I can do both. Literally one weekend to the next. So, but yeah.
James, it's weird. Every time I've met a dragon so far in D&D or, any D&D like game, tabletop game, they seem to die in one hit.
Well, Bubba said somebody put a hold monster on it.
Yeah, I know.
And if the dragon failed the save and its magic resistance, if it had any, because there's no guarantee, also, failed it. At that point, if it's held by magic, anybody could just coup de grace the thing.
I get that, but I do just still find that weird that that's happened twice.
Not
a lot,
but
it's weird.
Who are they going to get to teach people to be a DM? Matt Mercer? What's his name? Colville? Bob the World Builder?
People who would be far less better, far worse than any of my DMs I've ever had.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's like I am totally not wanting to sit here and just shit all over these people, but it's like really, you think you know enough about running D&D with your 5 or 10 years of experience that you can charge somebody $1,000 to sit and listen to you talk? Get out of here. Dude, all you guys got to do is ask me questions. I'll tell you all kinds of shit for free. It won't even cost you anything because, my channel is not monetized, which means you can't even gift me. I don't have a little link for you to buy me coffee. So everything I'm saying to you right now or ever have said to you is 100% free. So instead of wasting $2,000 to go to Scotland and hang out in a shitty castle and get ripped off about DM advice, I think you'd be much better off just asking me what I think about something. I'm not saying you'll agree with me, but hey, it's free. And you know what they say, if it's free, it's for me. Anyway, no, that's what I say because I'm a cheap bastard a lot of times. So, if it's free, it's for me. That's a me thing. Right. But I mean, here's the thing though, Coochie, I can 100% believe though that they're doing this. And I can 100% believe that they will get takers. 100%. I know they will. And the evil capitalist in me applauds them. You know what I mean? I applaud their gumption, their chutzpah, their freaking whatever, moxie. I mean, I really do. I'm like, damn, man. Like, you know, if I had the social cachet that someone like Mercer or Colville had, where I could just make up some bullshit and then have people throw money at me, I'd do it, you know. But, you know, I don't have that. I'm not part of Critical Role. I maybe not even be necessarily a very charismatic human being in the first place. So there's not going to be a lot of people there like, you know, this James guy, you know, this hillbilly that's always wearing Confederate you know, symbology and stuff that, you know, technically we should hate. Let's give him a bunch of money. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I mean, the second I went on air wearing a Confederate cappy with the lieutenant bugle on it, I knew that nobody was ever going to give me a nickel. As a matter of fact, if I monetize this channel, there would be people going on Twitter and shit being like, oh, I can't believe you guys watch that guy. He's got a Confederate hat that he wears.
They try to cancel you. Man, did
Yeah,
anybody
they might
hear
even
you?
try to cancel me. I've got a Confederate hat. It's a ball cap that just looks like a battle banner around here too. And a lot of times I wear it because it thins out the idiots that don't realize that just because you're wearing something with a Confederate battle banner on it doesn't mean like you're a bad person. It could just mean you're into history. You really like history, you know, and that's part of my history. So I'm not going to be shamed out of appreciating my ancestry, you know. You know, I'm pretty sure I had some Yanks in my ancestry too. From Pennsylvania, actually.
I only know that we had somebody who fought for Tennessee in our family.
Yeah, we did too. We had a lot of people that fought for Tennessee. I mean, they didn't start out wanting to. It just kind of happened that way. Like when Kentucky finally surrendered and they were on campaign. And it was like, well.
Ours was just a guy who lived in Tennessee. And
Major Thomas McKee fought for 6 Kentucky and an orphan brigade. So they were part of the Kentucky Army, but then when Kentucky got conquered, they just kept fighting for Tennessee and whoever else would feed them and give them ammo, you know.
Yeah.
And they did do a lot of raids into eastern Kentucky, which the Union never did really control until the end of the war. Because, I mean, too many mountains, too many hollers, too many people waiting to shoot you. But, you know, it is what it is, right? Sitting in a castle. I'll tell you what, if I wanted to sit in a castle, Coochie, there's one an hour away from where I live right now. I could go sit in it. And it's a real castle, for real. And it's also one of the oldest places in North America. And I won't keep it a secret from you. I know you guys are waiting with bated breath, but it's Fort Augustine. Fort Augustine was built like in the 1500s by the Spanish and then passed hands about, 20 times or so. Like for a while it belonged to the Confederacy and then it belonged to the Union and then the Confederates. And even way before that, it was like Spanish, then it was French, then it was English. And then I think the Dutch might have even took it over. It's one of those big star forts with the cannons and shit. Really cool. What are my thoughts on conventions not comping? I think that's bullshit. If you've got a guy that's willing to go to your convention and devote his entire time there to running games at a table for you, not only should you not be charged to go in there, they should be feeding you pizza and shit. You know what I mean? We had a convention down here before the guy who used to run it passed away because he was really old when I was a kid. And yeah, this castle I'm talking about, Lee, even the British owned it for a while. I mean, everybody owned Fort Augustine at one point or another. But he ran a convention. They would be maybe 100 attendants. But if you agreed to run games for him, you didn't have to pay the money to get in. And when he ordered the shit ton of super cheap pepperoni pizza or whatever from like Hungry Howie's or whatever, I mean, you got your lunch and everything for free. So, you know, which was a couple of slices of pizza and like some Coke or something, you know, whatever. Some kind of soft drink, you know. So it was cool because, I mean, he's passed, but Mr. Holmes, great man, he realized that you were doing him the favor, right? Like one time I showed up and I did nothing all day but run Space Marine, the box set, because I was the first person in our area to ever buy that box set. So my whole deal is people would come up to the table and I'd be like, okay, this is scenario. And this was the box that had cardboard buildings with the plastic tops and the Titans and shit. And I would just run them through it, you know, 3-4 rounds, whatever it took. And then that would be the end of them and they'd go their way. And then if someone else was interested, they'd come up and be like, what's this? I'd be like, Space Marines. It's like the Horus Heresy, and these Space Marines are fighting each other, and some of them are bad, blah, blah, blah. And I'd give them the whole pitch, and then I'd run a game for them. And also, midway through the tournament, he'd always call me in to help judge the best painted miniature, which meant I couldn't compete. But I didn't care because, you know, I wasn't that great of a painter. Still ain't, you know. You would think after 40 years I'd be killing it, but no. I get by. But yeah, man. So anyway, that's my answer, Coochie. If you're going to spend 8+ hours a day running games for the convention, they definitely should not charge you to get in. And they definitely should comp your lunch while you're there every single day. Every single day that you are sitting at the table running the game, you should get your cheap ass pizza because you know that's what they're going to order, and your drink for free. Because how do I mean to say this? If you are showing up at a tourney to run games for the tourney, like technically you're part of the staff. Like if anything, if they have a tournament, sure one. So everyone knows that you're the full-time DM for the tourney, and you know you have your table and you run your games. I think that's only fair, honestly. I think that is really only fair. But at the end of the day, it's whatever you agree to. And so if you agree to go there and run a game and pay your way in and everything like that, well, that's on you, bro. You made an agreement. Do your thing. But me, if I were going to spend 8 hours a day dealing with people I don't even know, running D&D or whatever I was running, I would expect, you know, at least some pizza or something. I mean, come on. I mean, I can be bought, and I am cheap. But, you know, yeah, I love a good castle too. We don't have very many of them here in America, Lee, but the ones we do have are pretty badass. But they're less castles in the medieval sense and more like star forts from Napoleonic days. But they're still cool. And the one up at Fort Augustine, that's where they kept Geronimo until he died. When they did finally catch his ass, they threw his ass in there, and yeah, that was about the end of him, I think. And I don't feel a damn bit bad about it because Geronimo was an asshole. Thief, murderer, rapist, the worst kind of person. None of the tribes that lived near him liked him. They all wanted him dead. So, whatever. I hope that answered your question, Coochie. I think I probably answered your question 5 times. I have that tendency, to like say something and then keep expounding on it until I finally realize, you've already answered that question plenty of times, probably just let it go at this point, right? But I don't know, man. You said it's in Virginia, and maybe people in Virginia are different than people down here in Florida, or maybe it's just the people running it. I mean, mine was ran by a history teacher who taught like high school, and he was a really good guy. He taught me how to play Johnny Reb, which was my first miniatures game ever. And then I taught him how to play Space Marine, and he got totally addicted to 40K after that. But yeah. I'm just rambling. I need to shut up. Shut your mouth. You said what you said. Right?
Yep.
I mean, Leth, he didn't ask you specifically, but I'm going to ask you, what do you think? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you should probably get something out of DMing at a convention.
Yeah, I mean, that is work, right?
Yes.
I mean, when I hang out with my friends and eat chili dogs and play games, it's not
That's
really
a hobby.
work.
That's for fun.
That's fun. But if I have to go and deal with people I don't even know in a convention, that's work.
Set
that's
things up and
yeah. And you know what Double D says? Well, actually, he just quotes the Joker. If you're good at something, you should never do it for free.
Yeah. He's not wrong on that one.
Skull and Bones are notorious for that shit, Coochie. Our founding father stole Blackbeard. What's his name? William Teach. They stole his skull and apparently made a punch bowl out of it. So yeah, I have actually ate at the tavern in Colonial Williamsburg where they displayed his head for a while. Kind of cool. Because they really hated that son of a bitch. When they killed him, they hung him. They displayed him through the street, and then they hung him off a post so other ships could see it, and then they beheaded him, and and then eventually his skull vanished. And
pirates don't usually get a happy ending.
Yeah. The legends say that South Carolina is full of treasure he buried.
Yeah.
That nobody ever found, and he died, and he didn't tell anybody. So
possible it's still there.
Yeah. Just heaven only knows where, But yeah, in that time, the Crown was not a huge fan of people stealing their ships and then robbing the shit out of them.
Again, I can only think of one pirate that actually, got away basically scot-free.
Okay, I don't know anything about it.
That was Ching Chi, the...
the female.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bloody
yeah, but she
China.
practically ran an empire, though.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going after that chick, just be aware. She's got 10,000 ships.
Well,
I don't know how many for real, but it was a lot.
10,000. It was around 10,000. numerically,
Wasn't
she
a
had
prostitute originally, and then she
yeah,
just
she
decided to
married
get
a pirate and then was basically second in command of a entire pirate fleet.
yeah. She's like, I used to be a hoe, but now I just kind of sell around the coast here and steal everybody's shit.
And China just got so fed up with it that they're like, "Look, we'll give everyone amnesty and let you keep all your shit. Just please, just stop."
Just please stop. Right? And then she retired. Well, good
Yep.
for her, man.
She's retired, probably one of the most richest and powerful women in China at the time.
Yeah, well, like I said, good for her.
It's like they
'Cause-
tried everything to get to her. Even tried to, put bounties on her so her crew would try to kill her or stuff, and they just wouldn't.
yeah.
Couldn't get anybody to betray her or anything.
Well, that's good. She must have treated her crew very well.
Yep.
But anyway. So there you go, Coochie. That you got an answer from both me and Leth.
Somebody's sucking up to you.
James, you are looking thinner. Daniel Rossi. Well, thank you, Daniel. Actually, I gained a little bit of weight recently, but it's all good because I lost like 80 pounds and then I gained like 10 back. So, shit happens. But yeah, this time last year, I was 300 pounds. I was really big, which I always carry my weight pretty well because I'm tall. But
Yeah, it's easier to look.
yeah,
A
it's
thinner when
easier
you're
to be
taller.
fat when you're really tall because, and I'm not like really tall, but I'm pretty tall.
I'm 6 foot.
And, so people, for some reason, they cut you a break if you're over 6 feet,
Yeah.
which at this point, I'm probably down to 6 feet. I've probably been shrinking. That's that free pizza from DMing. I haven't been to a convention in forever. The last convention I went to was like Crucible or some shit. And it was during the 7th edition of Warhammer.
And the last
And
time
I
I
was
got pizza
there.
was from Mr. Gaddy's.
Yep, I was there competing with my Lamenters army. So basically just Blood Angels. And no, I did not do very well.
My cousins are getting a lot, losing a lot of weight too.
Yep.
I think the older one is actually even smaller than I am now, and I'm like, well, I didn't see that one coming.
I mean, but I appreciate it, Rossi. Thank you. There's our Marine buddy chomping his way in. I am currently painting up a few House Harkonnen troopers. And these guys are actually based on the original Nintendo game. So they've got the big rotary cannon. That guy's sword's broken off, but I'll find him another sword. Probably another hand, actually, with a sword. Sometimes it's easier to replace the whole hand with the sword than it is to try to, just get a sword to stick. So I do have some of these Harkonnens with the rotary Gatling guns. Fresh Italian roast coffee. Yeah, I had whatever Javalia is because that's what my wife made. Javalia.
I don't drink coffee.
I
I
mean,
mostly just drink water anymore.
that's not bad for you.
Nope.
I drink my Javalia with sugar-free creamer.
I've
And
gotten
the
completely
creamer
away from soda.
I usually use the like hazelnut, something like that. And I drink it cold. Well, I will say this. It has been a lot easier for me to do a lot of the chores around the house this last year than the year previous. Like in this last year, since I lost the weight, I've went outside and dug up sprinkler heads and replaced them, and climbed up on the ladder to deal with shit, and so the wifey's a lot happier about it. Mainly just because I can do more housework. Since that's her favorite thing about me, is that I fixes the house every time she breaks it. So, it's her house and she just wanders around breaking shit.
Discord's trying to scare the crap out of me. I thought something was wrong with my computer.
Uh-oh.
I minimized my web browser. Saw a black screen. I'm like, oh, that's not right. Minimized Discord. Oh, never mind. It's just Discord being weird.
Yeah, Discord did that to me earlier too. It was just 100% black, but then I minimized it and then brought it back up, and it was back to normal again.
Yeah, it does that sometimes for some reason.
Yeah, this is like, wow, okay, weird, but whatever. Weird. Somebody's trying to tell me that Ziggler girl is going to be the new Princess Leia in the remake of Star Wars.
Maybe.
That boggles my mind.
Well, Disney loves losing a ton of money.
That's like something that I can't even like understand. I'm just like, it's like, really? For real? And then I finally saw the commercial that everyone's mad at.
Really?
Yeah, it's what's her name? The hot blonde chick with the really big boobs.
I do not know.
Something Swilling or Swaney or whatever. And she does a Jean commercial, and so it shows her looking in the mirror at her butt, and she's, you can see her giant boobs, and at the end of the video it says that something Sweeney has great genes, and they spelled it Genes, and of course Blue Sky freaked the hell out, saying that it was some kind of white supremacy thing. Because, which, I mean, if you look at her and you get really mad and the first thing you think is white supremacy, I think you've already proven your point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You do see her as superior to you. Why? Because she's a young, beautiful blonde with giant tits. I mean, right there you go. There it is. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're not that, then, you just got to work with what you got. How about instead of dyeing your hair and putting a bunch of metal in your face, you try working on getting a good attitude? Maybe being nice to people, like men. I mean, these are simple advice from me, and I don't know shit, but I just have a feeling that a lot of these man-hating women, they really, it's not that they hate men, it's just that they can't get them. And I'm just throwing it out there that maybe if they treated men nice, they might be able to get them a man. Because, I mean, there's someone out there for anybody, You can pretty much look like a troll, but if you're really sweet and you cook good and shit, somebody will marry you. They will wife you up. I mean, it is what it is. So instead of being jealous of the Sweeney girl, get your own shit in order, That's like me being mad at the guy that plays Jack Reacher on the HBO series because I'm not 6'7" and 300 pounds of pure muscle. It's like, okay. I mean, I don't know whose fault that is. I went from a 3X to an L, and I'm now wearing the same pants that I wore when I worked for the city 15, 20 years ago. So, yeah. Look at the women in the Philippines. What's crazy, Shark, is apparently they had that site that all these women were like downloading to trash talk men called T, right?
Yeah, that didn't have any protection
Any
from that.
security whatsoever. But in order to be on the site, you had to send a picture of yourself to prove you were a woman, right? So then someone, possibly from 4chan, went onto the site, and it turned out that all the pictures the women had sent in, none of them were secure. There was zero security on anything, right? So the 4chan guy downloaded all of their pictures and just threw it out there. And it turned out that the average size of these women on here bitching about men was 5'4", 200 pounds. That was the average. And the ones that weren't like super overweight, they were freaking just hideous looking, purple haired, big bull ring in the nose monsters, right? And they're on here talking all this shit about these dudes, but there's no way to back it up, right? It's like they could go on there and say, you know, that shark dude, right? He's a total asshole. I wouldn't date him. He's horrible, right? And they don't have to provide not a single bit of evidence to that claim. They can just say you suck. So now it's all like flipped up on them because what's up, Crafting Gamer? Because the guy got all their pictures and it turns out they're all ugly, like really ugly women. There's not even any heavy hotties in there. And that's a damn shame when, you know, you look at 1,000 girls' pictures and can't even find one heavy hottie. What's going on? I mean, you know? And then they wonder why all these dudes ghost them and don't take them serious and shit. You're like, well, you know, you're on T telling people what a scumbag, broke boy, whatever this guy is. You look like freaking Yoda, and you're wondering why no one wants to wife you up. And you got a bad attitude. Like I said, that's the worst part of it. It's like you're ugly on the outside and the inside. And a woman can only be ugly in one side, not both. Like, because if you're ugly on the inside, but you're smoking ass hot, there's a guy out there that will put up with your shit. Count on it. Just because of how attractive you are. And if you're not very pretty on the outside, but you're beautiful on the inside, well, somebody will wife you up, like I said. But you can't be both. And the problem is, modern women want to be both, you know? You want to be careful carrying those Thai women on. Well, you know the rule quickly. If you're ever in Thailand and you're surrounded by beautiful women, any of those beautiful women that are more than 5'4" are actually men. But the good thing about Thai women, and especially Thai lady boys, is they will let you know. And they don't try to pretend to be women. Yeah, and they don't try to pretend to be women. And they won't demand that you refer to them as a woman. It's just a whole different thing. They know they're Thai lady boys. That's like their thing, you know. That's what they're doing, you know. They showed up to work that morning knowing they were going to be Thai lady boys. You know what I'm saying? You know, so yeah, and they'll see. I've never been to Thailand, but I've heard stories. But yeah, if that woman is taller than 5'4", that is a dude. It's just a weird thing that Asian men, if you put a little makeup on them and shit, apparently they become beautiful women. At least to American eyes.
They might be a little effeminate.
Well, I mean, they look at things totally different in Southeast Asia too, though.
Yeah.
Like how we have our moral qualms about things, they don't. You know what I mean? They have a totally different outlook. So for them, being a Thai lady boy is not really considered to be that horrible of a job career. You know, if you can make money doing it, knock yourself out. You know what I mean? If that's the career path you want to go on. But me personally, the only Asian I've ever been around for an extended period of time has been Filipinos. And they are absolutely lovely people, absolutely lovely human beings. You know, one of them I went to fire academy with, and, you know, his family and stuff, and they were just lovely human beings, man. His mom was so nice. She would cook us up pad thai and stuff. And I mean, I'll tell you what, them Filipino women, they love to cook, and everything they cook is delicious. It's like crazy. You know, had a Vietnamese girlfriend, 4'10", 100 pounds, long black hair and gorgeous. No weird piercings, no tattoos, just a sweet feminine. Yeah, that's like I said, that's the thing somebody needs to tell all these women from that T app is they need to calm the hell down, because whatever the hell they think the modern man is looking for, it ain't them, right? Like me right now, if somehow I were 30, but I made a shit ton of money, there's no way I'd marry an American woman. Would not happen. I would be flying my ass to the Philippines tomorrow. I would find me a Filipino girl that the Filipino men think is ugly. That's the one I'd marry, because their beauty standards are totally different from ours. So the Filipino women that Filipino men think are unattractive, they're the hot ones. Because Filipino men want to marry a short, chubby, pale-skinned girl. They don't want, you know, an athletic, darker-skinned Filipino. You know, that's not what they're looking for. Whereas me, I'll take that coffee and cream skin tone any day of the week, especially if she's got an athletic figure and a nice rack. Let's get married. Shit, you know what I'm saying? We can move back to America, or we can stay here with your family. Most of them like to stay in the Philippines with their family. Lee, I mean, the only hope for you is that you end up somewhere where there are women that are in your age group and from your generation, because if you try to chat up a millennial, if you're not a millennial, anyone younger than you, forget about it. Them women is crazy. I don't know what happened. I mean, people are always making fun of it here in America. Like, these dudes will be walking around and they'll ask like some random chick on the sidewalk to rate herself from 1 to 10. And they're like, every time they're like a 10 out of 10. It's like, chick, you look like Yogi Bear. And I don't mean like the sports guy. I mean like the bear. You know, you're built like Boo Boo or Fred Flintstone. You're sitting here saying that you're a 10 out of 10 and you deserve a man that makes $500,000 a year. Get the fuck out of here. It's like at what point did these crazy ass bitches start thinking that they were so special? I don't know. It's like an actual thing that I consider sometimes, and I'm just like, when did this happen? You know, like I know it's not my generation because Gen X girls know better. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they might be a pain in the ass, but at least they know better than act up like that. They know that they need to get dinner on the table and shit. But these younger women, it's just like, what in the fuck went wrong with you? You know, like did your mom tell you you were like a beautiful princess or something, or you know, were you the fat girl that hung out with all the skinnier girls and they all told you you were beautiful, but they only kept you around so that they looked prettier than you, so that they would, stand out? I mean, I could go down this road for like days, you know what I mean? The what the hell happened here day thing, but I'm not going to, but I could. But it is so
I gotta
crazy.
go. I'll see you.
It is so crazy though when you're watching like these YouTube things and you got all these chicks on there and they're like, rate yourself 1 out of 10, and they're all like, I'm a 10, I'm a 10, I'm a 10. Freaking what's her name? The Destroyer, Grognor the Destroyer, whatever the hell that he goes by, rated themselves a 10 out of 10. And it's like, as like a normal human being, it's like, what in the absolute F is going on here? I mean, we have fallen so far away from God. I don't even know what's going on anymore. Yeah, yeah. The thing with America, it seems like, from my experience, is you've got a better chance of being treated really well by your girlfriend or wife, even if she's hotter than average. At least, from my experience in dating. It's like the really mid ones that are just bitchy, It's like, but if you can get a solid 7 or 8, a lot of times they're, totally cool, man. Totally cool. At least that was my Gen X experience. But you are right. There is definitely some weird shit going on. And unfortunately, it's going on in Europe too. You know what I mean? So it's not just an American situation, it's a Western civilization situation, Like in France, you've got that ultra militaristic group of feminists running around topless, talk about how much they hate men. I don't know if they got anything like that in England. I hope not, but I mean, Russia had that one group of women that were always talking shit, but those girls got their asses whipped, and one of them went to prison. That was so funny too. They showed up to Sochi to try to, be annoying. And as soon as they tried to set their instruments up to do their thing, the Cossacks rolled in and just started horsewhipping them. Like literally with horsewhips. And they were giving them the old what for. I mean, actual Russian police had to show up to tell the Cossacks to stop beating their ass. You know what I mean? Like, and then one of them went to prison. The other one didn't have to go to prison because she was pregnant. Well, I mean, it's because, and I mean, I guess we can all take a little credit in this. We have made idols out of the worst people, And these people that we kind of idolize are really just despicable human beings that you'd never want to hang out with. I mean, like, I can't imagine anyone would ever really want to hang out with Taylor Swift, But women idolize her. And it's like, what are you idolizing about her? She's not that pretty. Every one of her songs is dumb as shit and typically about her getting broken up with. And she ain't got no man. Well, she might now still be with that Kansas City guy, but it's like, I mean, there's nothing like wonderful to look up to there. Just cool your jets, you know what I mean? But it started with our generation when women started idolizing Madonna. That was pretty much the beginning of the tomfoolery, let's say. Because for some reason, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, women are a lot more influenced by whatever movie stars are doing than men are. Like a lot of men, you might see something and be like, oh, Tom Cruise did a new movie, huh? That'd be the end of it. You know what I mean? You're like, huh? And then you're done. But, chicks will run out and want to get their hair cut the way that, their idol's hair is cut. And they'll want to buy the same clothes and they'll want to act like her. And the problem is, like, I remember back when Friends was really popular. So you had all these chicks run around with the Rachel haircut. But the thing, these girls that got their haircut like Rachel didn't understand is none of them were pretty. So it was kind of like weird, right? It was like, yeah, you've got your hair cut and dyed like Rachel, but you don't look like, what's her name? At all. Not even a little bit. So, I mean, what's going on with that? You know what I mean? And that's a true story, though. There was that time in the, I guess, 90s, early 2000s. Like all these women will run around wanting to get the Jennifer Aniston haircut. It's like, bitch, you're like 3 Jennifer Anistons. Right? So, I mean, it's like, go do something with your life, Like, but yeah, that what you said is the thing. We used to be a normal society. Used to, like, something that's super popular for these idiots to do now. And every time you see one of the idiots doing it, again, it's almost always like an unhinged chick who's probably on a shit ton of antidepressants. But they'll be all like, I found out that my mom and dad voted for Trump, so now I'm going to cut them out of my life. And it's like, that's not normal, I mean, yeah, so growing up, sure, we had hippies and shit like that in the family. But you didn't, like, uninvite them to Thanksgiving and shit. That was just not a normal thing to do. But now it is a normal thing to do for these crazy ass bitches, because I'm sure they exist, but I have yet to see a man online being all like, my peepaw voted for freaking Trump, so I'm going to tell him that I'm not coming to Thanksgiving ever again. And any dude who did that would get mocked and ridiculed so hard by every other dude. You know what I mean? That they'd just be like, yep, I got to move to another state now. Because, like, every dude that knew them that saw that commercial, their little, spurg out would just be making fun of them like crazy, I know I would. Like if I was on YouTube or Tinder or whatever they got going on, and I saw someone I knew being like, I found out my parents voted Republican, so I'm not going to go to Thanksgiving with them anymore. I would bust their balls nonstop until they unfriended me. You know, I'd be like, you soft, weak ass bitch. Right? I mean, what's wrong with you? I sure hope you don't accidentally find yourself in a Waffle House at 2 a.m. because you ain't going to like it. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like, you know, but it's always some crazy bull ring in the nose, weird haired, you know. And I know that they're a super, super small minority. Most women are not like that. Because I know a lot of women and they're not like that. But those are the ones you see, though. They're the ones that get on freaking TikTok and scream mindlessly at the camera because, you know, no one's feeding the Palestinians. It's like, let's be honest, you know, a month ago, you didn't even know where Palestine was, you know, and now all of a sudden you're screaming your brains out because there's a genocide in Palestine. And I'm all like, good. I mean, maybe if they could handle that, we could have peace in the Middle East. But see, that's me thinking too much with my logical side of the brain. And the problem with using your logical side of the brain is the logical side of the brain is not nice. Right? So you got to kind of temper the logical side of the brain with the empathetic side of the brain. Now, in my mind, if I go by just pure logic, logically, the most expedient way to bring an end to the bullshit going on in Palestine would be for the Israelis to round them up and shoot them all. That is logically the most expedient way. But then again, that would be frowned upon by the world. But it doesn't change the fact that, yeah, that would be the quickest, easiest way to deal with it. All right. So yeah, gotta watch out for that logic. It'll get you. You know. You gotta use your emotions sometimes. But you're 100% right, Crafting Gamer. Yes, Shark. And unfortunately, a lot of that's down south. I don't know if it's the heat or the fact that we eat a lot of fried food, but yeah. You see a lot of, like, drive through Alabama. It's like, oh my God. It's like, this is where people go to get heart disease and die because, you know, no one that height should weigh that much. But then again, when I worked at the fire department, we had this person we ran on, and of course, I'm not going to break any HIPAA rules for you today, but we ran on this person. I remember I ran on her every shift for like 2 weeks straight. So that would be 5 shifts. I had to take her to the hospital, and she weighed about 600 plus pounds. And eventually we got her to the ER, and she said she had to use the bathroom because that's when it always gets you. And she got up and was walking from the bed towards the toilet and fell face first right down on the ground. And she was so fat that no one in the ER could roll her over. So they tried to do CPR from behind, which isn't going to work. There's a whole spine there and everything. And that was the end of her. And I hate to say this because I know it's mean sounding, but I was kind of glad. And it was because I felt like, one, I was so sick and tired of just dealing with her every shift. But two, I honestly thought she would be in a better place. And her being the way she was wasn't even her fault. Her husband was a feeder. That was his fetish. And one time she got down to like 300 pounds and he threatened to divorce her. So yeah, again, it really wasn't her fault. She just got with a man that, you know, wanted to feed her until she died. Like crazy. There is a little bit of that, and it's Lee. It's an exterior thing that causes that. It's not a natural thing. That's some outside cause is doing that. In a normal, natural society, even England, you know, men and women would know that they have their role to play and, you know, what they intend to do and how they're supposed to treat each other, et cetera, right? But one thing, and I mean, this is going to sound super preachy, but you'll notice that the British have basically given up on being Christian, even though they were some of the first people to start it. You know what I mean? And way back in the old days, having a strong church went a long way towards informing citizenry how they were supposed to act. You know, like if you went to the church and Father Smithy was there giving you a sermon, then you kind of had at least a guideline about how you're supposed to act. You know, don't be prideful. Don't, you know, beat women and shit like that, right? But Europe, even faster than America, decided to ditch the whole idea of religion. Well, okay, white Europeans decided to ditch the whole idea of their religious faith. Meanwhile, the immigrants into England, they're hardcore about their faith, you know. Like some of your people who are committing attacks are like third generation born in England, and they're still pulling crazy Islamist attacks, right? And unfortunately for Britain, until you guys start to embrace your religion again, you will never defeat them. And one day they are just going to own all of you. England will become the first Muslim country that has nuclear weapons. It'll either be England or France. Right? And then if you look at the Muslim people there, right, they know what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, granted, I don't agree with it. They're all marrying their first and second cousins and shit like that. But because they have a religious faith, they don't have the issues that atheist countries have. Right? I mean, people need to remember Karl Marx was a Satanist, and modern feminism is derived from Marxist doctrine. You know what I mean? His dialectic. So what we consider feminism is actually a Marxist dialectic. And so, yeah, you know, if you're not religious, you don't have as many children because you're too focused on spending all of your money and resources on selfish pursuits for yourself, you know? Well, that kind of didn't make sense. That was bad structure, sentence structure, but you get what I'm saying, right? So, you know, what are you going to do when you got country? It's kind of like, I don't know if you ever seen Fight Club. I love Fight Club. I like the book a lot too, which is slightly different, but close enough. What do you do about an animal that refuses to reproduce? Right? Like, remember when Tyler Durden was like, F the pandas? I mean, any animal not willing to reproduce doesn't deserve to live. Well, just go ahead and splash that onto humanity, right? For some reason, all of Western society, except maybe, you know, the Slavs, is just not having babies, man. Look at Germany. Look at France, right? Your French people are not even having enough children to replace themselves. And by French, I mean ethnic Franks, right? But the Moroccans and other people they have invited into their country, those people are having 8, 9 kids. And the thing is yeah, demographics is how you win everything, right? Because at the current rate, the modern European will just completely cease to exist. You won't even need anybody to kill them all off. They'll just vanish because they never reproduced. You know, it might take a century or two, but as long as the Moroccans and the Turks and whatnot are having like 7, 8 kids, and the Germans aren't having any kids, the what will happen in Germany is a foregone conclusion. See, here in America, we're lucky because we do have the Bible Belt and places like Kentucky where people still have, you know, like 6, 7 kids and shit like that, right? So, but that don't mean that it's going to save us. It just means it's going to slow it down for us compared to you guys. But again, look where all the people in America are having all the kids, the Bible Belt, because they're all Pentecostals or Baptists or whatever they are. And, you know, they all went to church since they were little kids, and every little boy and every little girl that went to church knew that when they grew up, they wanted to get married and have a family and, you know, take care of their little babies and get old together and blah, blah, blah. And it was all because, you know, some preacher told them that's what they wanted to do. And they believed it. And that's good. Because, you know, it gave them a focus. It gave them something to live for. And when they're 90 years old, they won't have to die alone in a nursing home. They can, you know, move in with one of their kids and, you know, die there, which is, I think, preferable. I've been to a lot of nursing homes, and I think they're basically torture centers. I mean, I would never allow my parents or anyone I love to go to one of those places. Well, they've been made to feel that way, and it's mostly because of what the Germans did. So, like when I was in Germany, I was in the army, and like all of my black friends in my unit had German girlfriends. None of the white soldiers had a German girlfriend. Not a one of us. Because the German women called the black guys exotic. And that's what they wanted to date. But also, there was this whole, they had to prove they weren't racist, right? Because of what the NSDP had done in the 30s and 40s. And therefore, you know, Germany is a country where the ethnic people of the country have been completely 100% in every way demoralized. So, I mean, think about it. Rammstein, which is a band that I actually like, they did a song about Germany, how much they hate it and still love it. But the actress they got to play Germania was an African. So they did a song about Germany, but they couldn't be bothered to get a German to actually play Germany in a video. That's weird. It's weird. So yeah, but I will say this is Western Europe's problem, because Eastern Europe does not have this problem. Poland, Hungary, the Baltic or Balkan states, Russia. Yeah, they don't have these problems. This shit only happens in the West. And what is the unifying thing about the Slavic world? Religion. If you're Polish, you're Roman Catholic. Just forget about it. And if you're from anywhere else, you're Orthodox Christian. And that means you go to Mass, you probably will meet your future wife at church. And the whole point of getting married is to have a bunch of kids. And women actually consider saving their virtue for marriage to be a good idea, And it is a good idea because scientifically we know that the more men a woman sleeps with, the less able she is to actually ever fully bond with any man. And I've seen that firsthand too. Because I dated this beautiful woman. Man, I loved her so much. But she had a high body count from her time in the Navy. And we just ended up not being a thing. It was like everything was awesome, and then it wasn't a thing anymore. And right now she would be 50. She's still single, dating men half her age. It's like, what kind of life is that, But again, they've been given a false bill of sale. A lot of women have. 100%. A false bill of sale. They've been saying that F men, you don't need men, and you're a queen, go queen, and why have babies? They're just a mess, and they'll just get in your way and prevent you from, going on that vacation to Tahiti. Why worry about saving your virginity? You might as well sleep with as many men as you can in college, and then maybe later you can find the guy you want to settle down with, right? All lies, all 100% damned lies, designed specifically to destroy the male-female interaction. 100%. And yes, Shark, what you said about feminism is communism, yeah, well, it comes from the same source, like I said. When Marx was writing his bullshit, he was worshiping the devil, and he basically invented feminism. Feminism has always had weird occult ties. Like, you will notice that almost all of the ancient female gods are not really good. I mean, when you go way back, like, who are we talking about here? Lilith or Ishtar? Same person. Child sacrifices, men cutting their wieners off and dressing up like women in their temple, stuff like that. I mean, that seems to be the nature of female deities that people used to worship. I mean, it's not like, it's not like the male deities were any better. I mean, Moloch, Astarte, or Astaroth, whatever. I mean, they were all evil, but their whole point was like the Phoenicians were really bad for this. They literally had temple whores, whose whole job was to go down to the temple to Ishtar or whoever and just be a whore. That was their job. That was what they did to show their worship. I mean, can you imagine? That is insane.
This is my slide of how to find what the aggregate we spent on people is on Julie's SharePoint, which I created.
Well, of course, yeah. And she's right. This is something I've said for years, which unfortunately I deleted all of my old videos, or, I tell you to look it up. Hell, you might find them in some of my recent ones though, right? Anytime you hear one of these weirdos talking about their desire to destroy the patriarchy, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, what is the patriarchy? Exactly. What is the patriarchy, right? Now, some feminists will tell you, well, it's ruled by men and blah, 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 right? But no, that's a red herring right off the bat, right? Patriarch is just another name for father. And in Christianity, we have God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So when these women are running around talking about if they had a hammer, they would destroy the patriarchy, they are, whether they even know it or not, they're talking about destroying Christianity. Not just Christianity, but the natural order put into place by God himself. That is what they're talking about. And I like to give a lot of them the benefit of the doubt and assume that a lot of them don't even know that that's what they're talking about. But that's what they're talking about, And then if you do try to speak like in a good way to them and explain where they're going wrong, a lot of them will be like, well, I'm an atheist. And it's like, well, that is your right, but it will not save you. But yeah, Rachel Wilson, and I love Andrew Wilson, and him and his wife are both Orthodox Christians. So of course, a lot of the stuff he says is very base. And I saw her book on Amazon, actually, The Occult, whatever, of feminism. And all I can say is she is 100% right. I mean, people might not want to believe it, but yeah. But like I said, the problem with all Western societies is that we've turned our backs on God, right? And if you turn your back on Jesus, then the Father will lift his protection from you. That is just how it is. So, so all the weird shit going on in America, yeah, And I'll tell you what, in the hardcore Christian countries like Russia and shit, you don't have women acting like all crazy and shit. Even like ugly women, they still act very feminine and stuff. And guess what? They get wifed up, have like 9 damn kids. It's all good, right? Because they're not fighting against, nature, So you see some babushka walking around. She's got like 5 kids walking behind her. Somebody's happy as hell with that woman, She might not be your type, but someone out there is like super proud of their wife and all their kids, right? And it's because they're Christians. That is the reason. I'm trying not to repeat myself, because the end story is, until Western society readapts Christianity, which we used to be, like the world champions of Christianity, until we get that shit back into our society, we are destined to lose to those who did not give up whatever their religion was. They're from Michigan? Nice. I love Michigan. I just hate the government of Michigan. I've been to Michigan multiple times. My sister used to live in a like a suburb of Detroit called Lincoln Park, just like the band. And we would go over. This, of course, was back in like the late 80s. We would go over the bridge into Canada. I think it's Winchester or Winston or whatever. And because in Canada, the drinking age was like, I don't know, 18. And also Canadian nudie bars back then were full frontal nudie bars. You know, they didn't have to wear like whatever. So yeah. Canada was party time back then. You didn't need to show a passport. You cross the bridge, the Mountie would just look in the car and be like, "What you guys doing?" Like, "Oh, we're coming to, hang out and have a good time and whatever." "Okay, you guys be careful." And off you went, is like Windsor. Yeah. It was like the best. It was, you could go to a bar and see like hot Canadian boobies, and there might be like a Velcro wall and you could try to throw a midget at it. And if you got the stick out in a certain number, you might win a prize or something. And yes, I do mean that. There was midget tossing at the one bar we went to. And then after you drank to your heart's content, and the US dollar was really strong against Canada back then, so you could afford it, then you freaking chuck yourself across the street to Tim Hortons and, get you some flapjacks or some freaking donuts or whatever the hell, soak all that alcohol up so that you can be ready to drive back across the bridge. Yeah. Shark, 100%. And you know which women I deal with all the time, and they're never that way? And it's like sad because these people are 100% heretics. But occasionally I have some young, very attractive, Midwestern looking blonde Mormons come by the house. And of course, I always try to convert them. And they are just lovely human beings. They are so nice and feminine in their homemade dress with their homemade prairie slippers on and, the whole thing. And of course, I have a feeling they're trying to honeypot people into going to their church because, a young man who's single might think, hell, I'll go to that church. Maybe I can hook up with one of these, hot blondes here, but don't work with me. But yeah, you don't ever see Mormon women out there but misbehaving, carrying on, freaking out and shit. You don't see Orthodox women doing that shit. Never. You don't see an Orthodox woman who's actually believes acting up like that shit. It's crazy. Because they know. You can be degenerate on earth and burn in hell, or you can do what's right on earth and, possibly go to heaven. But, and you look at the generations too. Both of my grandmas had at least 8 children. Both of them. And I remember one time the health department went to my one grandma, Grandma Vaughn, and they tried to give her a speech about condoms and birth control and all this sort of things because of how many kids she had. And she cussed that person out and told them to get off the property and said she loved every single damn one of her kids and wouldn't give one of them up. I mean, she got fired up about that shit, you know, and that freaking no good Nick from the government that was out here trying to convince people not to have children took off and never came back, because it's like who the hell are you to come down the holler here and tell us we shouldn't be having children? We're not on welfare. I mean, because that was one thing about my grandparents. They would not in any way accept any like welfare or anything. The only thing my grandpa would do is go to the surplus store and get a box of cheese when they had it available. But yeah, even back in the 70s, you had these government people that were going around trying to convince these women in Kentucky not to have babies. It was like, they probably had some kind of stupid degree, you know, and they probably believed that the earth was going to be overpopulated. Newsflash, the entire population of the earth could fit comfortably in Texas. The hard thing would be to figure out how to, you know, pipe water in and sewer out and all that if everyone was, you know, there. But every person would have like at least a quarter acre of land. And if you built like high rises, then there would be even more land, you know, because you could go vertical with it. So this idea that, you know, we're going to be overpopulated, that is also another perfidious lie. And the reality is, not only will we not be overpopulated, the reality is we need more people. I mean, unless we want to become like China, where within the next generation, you know, half of the population's on retirement and the other half is working like slaves so that, you know, they don't starve to death or whatever. Yeah, sure. That's the deal. And all you can do is, well, do what I did and find one that does embrace all that tomfoolery. Or what's my other word? Shenanigans. But I see some of these younger women, like my niece's age, my daughter's age, and I'm just like, oh my God. Who would ever want to marry this woman? I mean, you know that it's guaranteed to just be pure pain. You know, from the second you put a ring on her finger and move in with her, it's just going to be pain. Because she is just so freaking angry at the whole world. You know, this whole, I'm mad because I was born a female. I mean, think about it. Gwen Stefani did a whole song about it. I'm just a girl in the world, and that's all that you'll let me be. Who is you? Like, I'm standing around forcing her, Gwen Stefani, to just be a girl. Like, what are you talking about? And then she's whining because she can't get shit off the top shelf. It's like, bitch, what are you whining about? That's why you marry a tall husband, so he can get shit off the tall shelf. That's what my wife did. You know? Well, as every woman should be. I mean, not just Africans, every woman. That's where women will find their happiness and their fulfillment. I mean, yes, you can go work for some guy in an office building and maybe even make a shit ton of money. I mean, my wife works for a corporation, but luckily she works from home. And our children are grown, but you know, when you're an old woman, all of those years you put in at the company, you're not going to look back on them and think, man, that was great. But when you're an old woman and you've got like, 5 or 6 kids leaning over the bed that you're laying in, and God only knows, maybe 12 plus grandchildren leaning over the bed and holding your hand and talking to you and calling you Mima and whatever, that is when you'll know that your life mattered, right? But like we've already discussed, feminism has convinced women that that's not what they should be doing. And that is why these women are miserable, because they're doing stuff that is guaranteed to just make them miserable in the long run, I mean, if you want an example, you can look it up. The lady who wrote Sex in the City regrets her life. She wrote a whole article about it, how she thought she was being all empowered and shit. And now she's alone. She's got no kids, no grandkids, nothing. And she regrets everything she did. And it's like, well, yeah, that's that's how it works. We have a role. Like, my role is to get tall stuff off of shelves for my short wife. And when she was young, her role was to raise and nurture our children. And because of that, she can call her nieces and daughters and whatever, right? And have wonderful conversations about what's going on with the grandbabies, blah, 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 right? And she could still, now she's got a job too. And she went to university, so it's not like whatever. But she didn't get a stupid degree. She got a degree in business administration and psychology, a double major. She's a genius, though. Like, her IQ's got to be 150. I mean, it's crazy, right? But the whole time she was doing that, first off, she went to St. Leo's University, so a Roman Catholic university. And then she... See, Lee, there's no shame in that. There's no shame in that. I mean, you gave it your shot. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't. And there's no shame in that. Honestly, I mean, not that I'm here to absolve you of sin or anything, because I'm not capable of it. But I can tell you, do not feel guilty about this, man. You and your wife, you did what you could. Life is not fair all the time. Actually, I don't think it's fair any of the time. See, here's what happens too, is the relatively hot older ladies, they just end up getting ran through by like young dudes. And whether they want to admit it or not, they're always hoping some young dude will stay with them. And it never happens. It never happens. So you end up with the cougar syndrome, where you've got a relatively, attractive older woman, and she's hanging out in the bar, thinking she's going to maybe grab her a cougar cub, let's say. And what she just never understands is, yeah, they'll go home with her and they'll rel her out. They'll smash that shit down, but stay with her? No. Fuck no, they're not going to stay with her. They're going to bang her until they get bored, and then they're going to try and find a younger woman that might be able to bear them children. That's what's going to happen. And that's what happens. I have observed that with my own 2 eyes happening. And it's just like, I mean, what can you do, Nothing. The weirdest part is the one I've observed it happen to this day, she's convinced that she's an empowered woman. It's like, you're not an empowered woman. You're the older chick that 20-something-year-old dudes bang at the local club. and then I'll talk shit about because none of them are ever going to date you. You know what I mean? What's up, Robert? How you doing? The toast. We have been talking about all kinds of crazy shit, but I'm probably going to wrap it up before too long because I'm addicted to the Dune MMO. And before I caught on here, I just set up my fabricator to make me a bunch of plastinium or whatever. I lucked out when I went out into the deep desert and I managed to find some titanium and some strontium or whatever. So one day, years from now, when I get enough of that stuff, I might be able to actually build something. But it is what it is, you know. We were talking about the downfall of Western society and how, you know, much of it had to do with feminism and Western society's rejection of God. And I believe that's 100%. BRC's out there stripping that copper. Oh, yeah, bro. Digging in the dirt. Actually, that's has nothing to do with copper. That has to do with Peter Gabriel. Digging in the dirt. But I am a huge fan of Peter Gabriel, so I actually think Peter Gabriel is superior to Genesis. You know, I'm not saying I want to fight over it, but I do believe that. But I mean, it's taste, right? It's all taste, so you know, don't be mad at me. Give me steam. Stand back, dun, dun, dun. Stand back, dun, 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 dun. You know you're coming from your trash. You know. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, the good news is, and believe it or not, this is one of the things I actually support. And I know I'm hardcore in a way, but I'm pretty sure that in England, there's got to be some safety net programs to help out a widowed woman. Because, I mean, we have them here. So, I mean, if America, which is a country that basically despises any form of anything even remotely resembling socialism, if we have some safety net programs for widows, I would hope that Britain would also have a few, you know, since, I mean, you guys are the guys that are most known for all of your different, you know, programs. So, yeah. I mean, even though I'm a hardcore free market capitalist and I would call myself almost very damn near alt-right, I still believe there has to be some social nets because you can't have little old ladies eating dog food and shit like that. I mean, that is just not a civilization I want to be a part of. You know what I mean? So, yes, I don't like the idea of just handing anybody welfare checks all over the place, but taking care of the mentally disabled and old women, that's got to be on the list. Or what kind of country even are you, you know, if you're not willing to take care of, you know, your seniors and your special people, you know. Like, I think that would make you a very bad country, but you know, whatever, right? So there's that, you know. I did not see Condor ask to interview me. I don't know why you wouldn't just come to my channel and ask. I would 100% absolutely agree. I don't hate Condor. I mean, I know I've talked shit about him when he said stupid shit. Okay, good. Yeah, familial support. Hopefully, maybe you've got some sisters and brothers and stuff, but yeah. People, believe it or not, when they find out my position on safety nets are often like, really? It's like, yeah. I mean, while I'm incredibly a fiscal conservative and don't think we should give any other countries money at all, I 100% believe that the weakest and most needy amongst us, which are the elderly and the, mentally impaired, should be taken care of. I mean, 100%. I also believe that we shouldn't be locking drug addicts in prison. We should be locking them in rehabs and try to get them off of that shit. Because, I mean, throwing some guy whose only offense is drug abuse into prison with a bunch of murderers and shit just doesn't seem like a good plan to me. But hey, you know. Oh, where did Condor ask to interview me at? That is so weird. I didn't get it, but I think him and I are both Eastern Standard Time, so now I'm not going to be home after, I think, tomorrow or the next day. I'll be out of the state, you know, because I got a wedding to go to. That nephew I'm so proud of that's in the Navy, an officer in the Navy. Well, he finally met him a woman that's super religious, and they're getting married, and he wants to have 1 billion kids. And so, you know, his favorite uncle and aunt have to be there. You know what I mean? Yeah, if we cut the foreign aid bullshit, we could have like the most beautiful roads, the most beautiful bridges, bullet trains from coast to coast, and we could take care of our really needy people. No one would ever have to live under an overpass. But for some reason, we would rather send billions upon billions upon billions of dollars to literally almost every country on the planet. I think we even send aid to like most of Europe. It's insane, you know. And then Israel gets their 2 or 3 billion a year, and God only knows how many $100 billion has went in that fiasco in Ukraine. To no effect, except for extending it and causing more people to die. So, yeah, we're screwing shit up. But yeah, I'm gonna call it. Might be time for me to go get some lunch, and I'll probably go see what Condor's got going on. No, you never, Lee, never. Hey, man, you are allowed to throw even your halfpenny in if you want. And the last sentence you said, that's the trick right there. If you're happy with how your life is going and everything like that, then you keep on trucking, brother. That's why I'm saying, Shark. Just some of those hundreds of billions we sent to Ukraine. How many homeless veterans could that put up somewhere? You know, and most of them, They say anywhere between 20 and 70% of the homeless people have severe mental illnesses. But we don't have enough hospitals to treat even a tenth of that. So, yeah, we need to stop sending money to other countries and start building places where these people can get the help they need. And some of them you won't ever be able to help. They'll just have to live the rest of their lives in a full care facility. But maybe some of them you can help them out, and maybe one day they can, become a functioning member of society, right? But until we start organizing our cash right to do these things, it doesn't matter, right? So, but peace, love y'all, and and the name "Dreams Are Messages from the Deep." That's what the Sardaukar say in the beginning of the Dune movie, and then the other part, that's from Kanye West's song. And I'll tell you what, I mean, he uses some bad words in it, sure, but if you listen to the meaning of it, it kind of slaps. And having been through the ringer that is divorce and child support and shit like that, I kind of feel him, man. I have a little bit of sensitivity towards that kind of thing, because I know how sometimes the system will do. But I'll see you later. I'm the typical Southerner. It takes us 45 minutes to say goodbye. We'll follow you out to your car, still saying goodbye.